Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Prime Minister salutes in excess of 100 centenarians as she highlights TNT as an aging population. The Southern Western Local Economic Development Project launched with a promise of boosting small and medium-sized enterprises. And digital animation in TNT has a permanent home as YTEP is now a Toon Boom training center. Thank you for joining us and welcome. Do not regret going old. That's the message being sent from the Division of Aging under the auspices of the Ministry of the People and Social Development. The ministry brought together a number of extremely privileged citizens to recognize how special they were as the centenarians of the country.
When we say we want to live a long, healthy life, we rarely think that means reaching the age of 100. However, when the few of us actually reach such a significant number, how do we recognize the contributions that have been made by centenarians during their life and show them that they still matter to us? On Wednesday, the Ministry of the People and Social Development hosted an event at the Hyatt Regency Trinidad entitled Salutation to Centenarians. Director of the Division of Aging at the Ministry, Dr. Jennifer Rouse, spoke of the significance of the event in bringing these special persons together.
With reverence, with deference, I am just a mere mortal, saluting, honoring all of these centenarians who we will not see in the same group, at the same time, in the same hall. So I beg of all of us to respect and honor truthfully from the heart those in your midst, because this is a moment in time that will never be again.
The centenarians were presented with memorabilia in recognition of the milestone they achieved in reaching and crossing 100 years. In Trinidad and Tobago, at least 150 centenarians are said to make up the local population.
The population of Trinidad and Tobago is aging, and you are a testament to that. I must emphasize, however, that being old doesn't stop you from being an active agent of social change. We need your input, your ideas, and your values, not only as we seek to develop legislation to ensure that you and your peers are taken care of, but to transform our society into a better reflection of ourselves. Aging in itself is not an illness to be fixed. It is a period of life with the potential to be as rich, rewarding, and productive as any other. We are all aging, and we all, quite rightly, hope and expect to live longer than previous generations, with appreciation and a better quality of life.
The Honourable Minister congratulated the caregivers and family members of the centenarians who continue to show them love, which she says is the greatest of God's gifts. Prime Minister the Honourable Kamla Persad-Bissessar SC, who also holds the title as Minister of the People and Social Development, revealed statistics that confirmed Trinidad and Tobago as having an aging population.
These statistics are very important to all of us for a number of reasons. One, people are now living longer. That brings the need for healthy lifestyles into focus. Two, it means that our system of healthcare must continue to transform with a much deeper focus on appropriate treatment for conditions which commonly affect the elderly. Three, it means that our economic planning must ensure that the medical, financial, and legislative support needs for the elderly are given greater attention. 5, it means that our public service system of transport must pay greater attention to the needs of an elderly population.
The Prime Minister said the fact that the population is aging also means that public education on issues which affect the elderly and their comforts will be critically important. She said it is based on these findings that in recent years, the Division of Aging's mandate has been expanded to promote education and awareness on issues related to older persons and the aging process. The Honourable Prime Minister believes the event served its purpose well and will raise the spirits of the elderly in society.
Today's program is meant to honour and elevate elders as important and resourceful members of society who continue to contribute to the success of our nation. Today's event is also in part intended to shine a light on initiatives to build a more positive image of aging by celebrating life and honoring contributions.
Tobago will also benefit from a similar event on the island to recognize the centenarians there. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
The Ministry of Trade, Industry, Investment and Communications has embarked on a project involving economic activity that will be undertaken in the southwestern peninsula and is expected to benefit downstream businesses in the area and, by extension, the country. Now, in 2012, Atlantic LNG approached the Inter-American Bank to undertake a monumental project for the southwestern region, which involves the merging of expertise and resources from a multinational extractive industry company. Minister of Trade, Industry and Investment and Communications Vasant Bharth says the Southwest Local Economic Development Project was launched and in 2012 designed to sustainably impact specific target interventions, the Southwest community, the Southwest business sector, and the Southwest human capital resources. The Southwest-led project seeks to develop and or expand business activity by serving as a platform for dialogue and in some cases, intervention centered on stimulating and enabling an environment for the growth of key non-energy sectors. The LED project, entitled Developing and Implementing an LED Framework, or Regions with Extract Industries, he says, targeted 6 communities in the Southwest region.
There are over 30,000 vessel voyages that pass outside of our coast of Trinidad and Tobago every single year, making journeys to South, Central, Latin America, none of which stop off in Trinidad and Tobago. We have just, based on the visit from the President of China last year in July, we have just made application to the Exim Bank in China to access funding to build a new port in Le Bret. To build a new port in Le Bret to do 2 things. To act as a transshipment port, number 1, creating thousands of jobs, I need not tell you. And secondly, as a repair station.
The minister says this investment forum falls under Component 2, the aim of which is to provide support for the expansion and growth of SMEs in the region and in activities in business development and improving access to finance. The purpose of this forum is to increase MSME activity in the region to generate additional income to reduce the region's dependency on our energy base of oil and gas.
There's no point in developing a part of Trinidad and Tobago to the detriment of the rest of the country. We've got to make sure that if we are going to cure a lot of the social ills that have befallen us, that we've got to ensure that there's uniform development across the country. And that is why we've embarked on this process of moving a lot of businesses or a lot of government businesses out of Port of Spain and moving them to South and Central Trinidad and Tobago to create more jobs, to create more economic activity.
The 3 targeted sectors are fishing, agriculture and tourism, which were prioritized by stakeholders during the project-defined fees. The Southwest Localized Economic Projects seek to develop and expand business activities by serving as a platform for dialogue. In some cases, intervention centered to stimulate and enable an environment for growth of key non-energy sectors.
What is good for the long-term sustainable development of economic activity in our country? This particular project, which is not even under consideration as yet, but I just want to throw it out as a means of discussion, has the potential of extracting 50,000 barrels of oil per day. Now, when one considers from our existing refinery operations, we're currently getting somewhere close to 90 or 100,000. The extraction of oil from these sands has the potential of extracting 50,000 barrels a day, and it's an investment worth somewhere in the region of about $5 billion purely by the private sector.
This will help to develop a promotion and branding strategy for commodities emerging from the region. In this context, the Southwest-led project aims to stimulate investments, readiness and creating mutual understanding between investors and SMEs through deliberate intervention that impact the supply and demand side of the target non-energy sectors. Ultimately, this will enhance leverage and create more value for sustainability. We'll take a short break and return. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Youth Training and Employment Partnership Program Limited, YTEP, is now an authorized Toon Boom training center, which allows persons to develop the requisite skill at entry level into digital animation. Senator the Honorable Fazal Karim, Minister of Tertiary Education and Skills Training, launched the 6 weeks of Train the Trainer, which will offer participants professional level Toon Boom certification.
Persons interested in digital animation can now look to YTEP for entry training into this niche sector. The training program launched its first Toon Boom class in its Waterloo Centre. And in formally opening the Digital Animation Lab, Senator the Honorable Fazal Karim, Minister of Tertiary Education and Skills Training, described this as further expanding the diversification of academia in Trinidad and Tobago. The program, while offered free of charge, Minister Karim explained the potential the program held for citizens in Trinidad and Tobago as one aimed at developing the entrepreneurs in a unique untapped field in the region.
I think the time has come for us, for other countries to outsource to Trinidad and Tobago. We have the potential. We would have seen what Mr. Selvan Abrams did with Anime Caribbean. Fantastic work. And let me just say that you might be surprised that a 30-minute animation feature can cost between US $200,000 to $400,000 to produce. Some of you may not realize it, but you have future success stories of this program here. And you'll be future developers of great entrepreneurs in Trinidad and Tobago by the way in which you're going to carry about your delivery of your programs. And therefore, in the case of Jamaica, they have graduated 45 new animation specialists. And we'll be duplicating and triplicating that number in Trinidad and Tobago.
The 6-week Train the Trainer program will see software instructor of Toon Boom Animation Incorporated, Michael Westmere, offer his experience to local upcoming animators. His professional experience comes from working at market-leading studios using Toon Boom's products, including Disney, Warner Brothers, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network.
I was inspired by my teachers, in particular a gentleman who worked at the Walt Disney Studio. His name was Walt Stanchfield. He had been there when I arrived in 1994. He had been there since 1948. Started his first work was on the film Cinderella. And he inspired me to teach, so I'd like to acknowledge him. I just really am excited to pass on some of my knowledge, both technical about Toon Boom and also about animation, to this new group of trainers. And I'm excited about you passing it on to others.
The program is geared to catering to niche markets such as advertising and media. However, Chris Ducave, Director at Entrepreneurial Development and Support Services, says introducing this unique training opportunity will expand YTEP's global reach.
With this partnership, Toon Boom will encourage and expand the global reach of YTEP by facilitating on-site and remote workshops with experienced industry specialists, such as storyboard artists, character animators, and pitching experts, all designed to reinforce the highest standards. YTEP will also take this training on the road to near and far-reaching communities across Trinidad and Tobago through the use of our 4 mobile computer buses, pursuant to the number of software licenses granted by Toon Boom, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, our citizens becoming exposed to YTEP training will be prepared for careers in areas such as animation studios, advertising agencies, television studios, and entrepreneurial opportunities such as freelancers and home studios and startup companies.
The program, however, targets graduates of film, communications, audiovisual gaming, storyboard artists, graphic artists, and animators. Persons enrolled in the program will receive certification from an internationally acclaimed animation institute with exposure to the latest animation software available. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Acting Commissioner of Police Stephen Williams is adamant that young people of today will be the adults of tomorrow, and therefore positive investments into their future must be deposited today. Mr. Williams made the remark at the graduation ceremony of 70 primary and secondary school students who took part in a peer mediation camp 2014 hosted by the Mediation Services Division of the Ministry of Community Development.
While the country has crime and law and order as its #1 priority, in working with that very set priority, we believe if we can work extensively with the young people across this land, we can effectively address the priority of the country, that of crime and law and order. Because the young children of today, as they follow a pathway to adulthood, we would want to positively influence them so that we can shape them, encourage them, guide them to be the adults of tomorrow.
The camp was held from Monday, April 14 to Wednesday, April 16, 2014 at the Vishnu Boys Hindu College. It was held in collaboration with the Karani and Cunupia Police Youth Clubs. The program provided students with the knowledge, tools and skills to resolve their own conflicts in a supervised and controlled environment. Acting Commissioner Williams noted that the service was very passionate about youth development, explaining that discipline was vital in setting young people on the right path.
We believe in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service that the only way we can truly save Trinidad and Tobago, not necessarily by the number of police officers we put out on the street to patrol the street and the number of persons we arrest as we seek to enforce laws, but by the number of young people that we touch in a positive way, so that we do not have those challenges that confront society today in the future.
Featured speaker Beverly Harry Manuel, Executive Director of the Community Mediation Program, revealed that the program will be extended to other parts of the country. The syllabus for the camp covered areas such as conflict, peer mediation process, anger management, communication, verbal and nonverbal, diversity and culture gender difficulties, dealing with strong emotions, school-based violence, minor assaults and fighting, bullying, restorative justice principles, and role-play practice. Felicia Wilson-Mon, News 4.
Sport news is next. Stay with us. Welcome back. Football features in our sportscast as the Defence Force continues to mount a firm defence of the TT Pro League title with their 8th successive win on Tuesday night. News 4 Sport was at the Atto Boldon Stadium, and we have highlights in this from Wayne Cunningham.
The Defence Force sat in 3rd place and 7 points off the pace, set by leaders W Connection, as they took on St. Anne's Rangers in the TT Pro League on Tuesday at the Atto Boldon Stadium in Couva. Rangers just came off a morale-boosting 3-2 victory over Caledonia AIA, and the confidence was still there, as evident from this Kennedy Isles effort. The Defence Force had some attempts of their own, this one from Kerry Joseph, stinging the hands of Akel Clark, but he held on well. Despite the goal-mouth action, neither team managed a goal in the first half. The military men were missing ace striker Devon Jostling, who was out due to injury, and it showed. He was not going to pass the ball here. Joseph made up for that indiscretion on the resulting corner, as he nodded in the first goal of the match in the 47th minute.
For the defense force.
Josimar Belgrave made it 2-0 defense force in the 73rd with a well-taken shot which gave Clark little chance. Josimar turning and hitting well to enhance his team's lead. The military men relaxed a bit following that strike and paid for it 3 minutes later. Kennedy Isles once again on spot for St. Anne's Rangers. The Kittition keeping the pressure on to keep his team in the match. Anthony Street's men went in search of an equalizer, but the Army defense held on for their 8th straight win, which kept them in third on the points table, but with 4 games to go, while second place Central FC has 2 and leaders W Connection 3 matches. Ross Russell's men will be wary that 2 of their outstanding matches will be against W. Central FC has a mathematical chance of grasping the title, but it will take a series of unfortunate events for the other 2 contenders to make this happen. The Sharks kept hope alive though with a comprehensive win over Police in Game 2 at the Attobolan Stadium. But it did not start well for them. Aaron Stewart opening the scoring for Police in the 4th minute. It took Central 20 minutes to equalize, and it came off the boot of Atula Guerra, who earlier had a penalty saved by Adrian Fonset. But he made up for that.
Central FC.
Willis Plaza joined Central FC at the January transfer window and is now the 2nd leading scorer in the league. This is why. Pace, strength and accuracy. 2-1 Central in the first half.
Goal for Central FC. It's now Central FC 2, Police FC 1.
6 minutes into the second period, it was Plaza again. Fonset tried his best to stop him, but 3-1 it was, as the national striker continues his scoring streak.
For the Central FC team, 3rd goal.
The scoring was rounded out in added on time by Darren Mitchell to seal a 4-1 victory for Central FC.
The Central FC team.
They stayed second with that performance, but now must realistically be giving up hope of capturing the crown and concentrating on a coveted CONCACAF Champions League berth. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
The Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training has taken to the road and is giving citizens a chance to meet the ministry as part of its Community Conversations initiative. The conversations see the ministry and the institutions under its purview hold discussions with citizens on the services they offer and how those services can be improved.
The Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training's Community Conversations will see staff of the ministry go straight into communities around the country, presenting programs and services to residents and allowing them to ask questions to gain information. The program aims to empower community members and provide them with the means toward their own self-improvement. In addition, ministry staff have the chance to directly interact with community residents and gauge their education and training needs. Addressing those gathered at the most recent community conversation in Gulf View, San Fernando, Minister of Public Administration, the Honorable Caroline Sipasat Bechan, believes this is evidence of the government's promise to serve the people and, more importantly, to listen to the needs of the people.
When we came into government, the People's Partnership government promised in its manifesto consultation. But just not consultation where we talk to you only, but consultation where you get the opportunity to participate as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. As Minister of Public Administration, I want you to know that one of the things that has come forward many times is that our citizens do not want to know just how we are going to do the job. They do not just want to complain about the services that government is offering and hope that you take them on board. Our citizens want an opportunity to actually be part of the solution. They want to participate in that solution. Today, therefore, is an opportunity, or what we speak to, of bringing government to you the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
She adds that the government will ensure a habit is made of listening to the citizens and heeding their needs.
I think it's important that we understand this is not an event that starts here and finishes here today. It's a continuous process.
Mrs. Sipasad Bechan, who is also the Member of Parliament for San Fernando West, thanks the ministry for bringing the information to her constituents.
I thank you again, team, for being here and bringing the Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training to San Fernando to consult not only with you, but to hear your views and for you to be part of this process as we deepen our participatory democracy process.
Minister Sipasad Bechan says the conversation is important as the Ministry of Public Administration is attempting to open the public service to numerous professional opportunities. She adds, however, that for these to be filled, citizens must be aware of the training available through the Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
And that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 Report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Thank you for watching.